Welcome everybody to Make at Home from Explora. Today we're actually at the Balloon Museum. We have a special treat in store, and I'd like to thank our lovely host for having us.
Well, hi everyone. My name is Katie Farman. I'm the field trip and volunteer coordinator here at the Balloon Museum. And we are so excited to have our friends from Explora here to do some little fun stuff, especially around Halloween. As you can see, we all dressed up. I'm Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop, so...
I'm Riley. I'm an intern at UNM, and I decided to dress as a bee today.
And I'm Trish, but I'm Bob Ross today, and I'm the camera person.
And my name is Saitama. I'm just a hero for fun. But I take this stuff seriously. Today, we are making parachutes, and we're going to do some parachute testing to see if we can drop an egg safely from the second floor of the Balloon Museum down to the first floor. Hopefully there's no mess, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do we have here, Riley? Miss B.
We're going to be testing all different kinds of materials and different kinds of methods of creating a parachute. We have different shapes here. We have a thin paper material that's circular shaped, connected with string. We also have some thicker material right here.
And this one actually came from our parachute drop exhibit at Explora. I wanted to bring some of those to show everybody as well.
We have different kinds of attachments, and we're just gonna test them out today. I'm going to be making my own parachute and showing you guys how to do that.
And for those of you who want to follow and make along at home, the materials that we're using are very household items. This is just a coffee filter, if it looks familiar to you. If it doesn't, you can find these in all sorts of shapes and sizes. The one that Riley first held up was just a gigantic one for industrial purposes, but also just a coffee filter. And the piece of plastic that Riley is also using is one of those plastic tablecloths you get from the dollar store.
So right now, with my square-shaped tablecloth material, I am cutting out some thick pieces of tape just to provide some more stability and strength for where I'm going to attach my strings later. So just go ahead and take about an inch of tape and tape the edges of your parachute.
And while the bee is cutting tape, she's a master of flight, right? And when we're flying, we want to make sure that we're safe in the air. You know, humans invented planes, blimps, balloons, and sometimes those things don't always travel safely. And parachutes is one way that we can ensure the safety of the passengers. And so it's been a long road, and now we actually can use parachutes for leisure. Anybody ever been skydiving out there before? Have you ever been skydiving?
I have not.
I hear bees are quite the little kamikazes.
And when we test these parachutes, normally we're going to see which parachute is the best. So not the fastest, but actually the slowest. We want our parachute to be the safest coming down, so the slowest, the most steady, and going down in just a straight line.
Yeah, that's a really good point. We don't want our parachutes to drop really fast. We don't want them to get tangled. We don't want them to crash into things.
So right now I'm taking a hole puncher and I'm punching a hole in the middle of where I taped my parachute on every edge. If you don't have a hole puncher, you can try to just poke a hole with a pencil or a pen or any sort of sharp object that'll help you pass some sort of connecting material through. All right, and now I'm going to use some string and tie it around each end. Get a good amount because you're going to be connecting them at the bottom, forming that iconic parachute shape ultimately. How much should be like that?
That looks like a good length.
Okay.
One thing to be aware of is that sometimes you might tie the knots in different spots, so the string length won't be the same for every corner, and that's okay. You know, as engineers, as scientists, we make mistakes, and we test it, and we want to make sure that when we test it, we try and maintain consistent results across our data. So if there's any errors, you can always redo it. And that's part of the testing process is, maybe it didn't work out this time, so you redo it and try it again with a different, you can either use the same material or a different material. That's totally up to you. And we have some little weights that we're going to use to drop. This one has a little rock on it as our passenger, but we also have tiny little wood people that we're going to be using as well. This one looks like he got stuck in a tree.
Do you want to attach that to the foil?
Let's see, that one's already got a passenger.
Maybe just this one.
Yeah,
then.
I'll attach it to this one. So I'm going to use this smaller coffee filter, which doesn't need holes because these guys already have little clasps. And we'll see how well this performs.
When you're testing this at home, you can try to use different weights, different ways to attach them at the bottom. Maybe you could use a hair clip or just any sort of ties that you have around the house and see how that different weight affects the speed in which your parachute is going to fall to the ground.
Yeah, that's a really good point. We want to look at all the different kinds of variables that we could have. So like you were saying, you could test the weight. Obviously the shape of your parachute might make a difference, or even the size of it. We think of this as having an area, the size of the shape itself. And so that area affects how much air it catches on the way down. And sometimes you might think that a larger area is better, and sometimes that is either too slow or too unstable. If you ever watch like videos of parachutes gone wrong and they're flying out of control, it's because they're not engineered to be ideal for whatever weight they're carrying. If you've ever seen a video of like a Humvee drop for the military or a rocket landing from outer space, sometimes there's multiple parachutes holding that thing. And the reason why they do that is, one, so that it falls steadily and at an even rate, but also so that there's no damage done to the equipment that they're carrying. And in the rocket case, it's more important for the people inside to make it back than it is for the rocket itself.
So what I did is I tied the two ends of my parachute together, and now I'm just going to tie those ties together in the middle.
That's a nice big parachute you got there. You're a very safety conscious bee.
Thank you.
In just a moment, we're going to go over the balcony and start our parachute drops. I'm going to go downstairs and catch them. Well, I'm going to let them hit the floor, but then I'm going to pick them up. And while we're up here, Riley is going to time, or maybe I should go down and time it. What do you think?
Why don't you go ahead and time for us?
I will time. So I'll go downstairs with the clock, time the parachute drops, and we'll see which one of these is the safest and the best. Are you ready, Riley?
Yeah, let's test them out. I'm going to be using this parachute made out of foil. This one with a tiny rock at the bottom to see how that affects the speed. This one that he was showing us earlier with a little wooden person on the bottom. And the large parachute that I just made, which does not have any weight at the bottom right now, except for the strings. So, let's test them out.
Let's do it. I'm going to go downstairs and I'll see you on the other side.
let's do one more. All right, so which one do you guys think went the slowest going down, and which one do you guys think I should use when we're testing our egg drop? So I made this earlier. I just put 4 holes on every side and I tied some string around them, and I'm going to tape it to whichever parachute went down the slowest. We're going to put an egg in there. If you want to try this at home, you can try all kinds of material to cushion your egg inside of your lowering device. I have some foam here, some egg carton. You can try to use some cloth. Can you grab me these?
There's also this foamy material too.
Oh, we also have this if we wanted to use that.
Here is the egg.
Oh my gosh, I hope we don't just have one.
What was that?
So what I'm going to do with my egg is I'm going to take this carton and I'm going to cut 2 off the edge.
Now there is lots of ways to do this, so I highly encourage you trying different materials at home. Maybe not an egg with your first try, but we can get there.
And I'm going to go ahead and tape that shut.
Smart using an egg carton. They are already safe in the egg carton.
I'm going to go ahead and put that in my pot. That's good enough. And hopefully if my egg does break, this will help make less of a mess.
And so when we did our trial, this green one and the red one were basically, they fell at the same speed. It was about 5 seconds to landing for these 2 big parachutes. What was interesting was the small coffee filter also had one of the safest times, the slowest times, which is interesting because it's actually smaller than the green one. I mean, not the green, the Mylar, this metallic one. So which one are you using, this green one? There's a tie between these 2.
Yeah, so with the egg, hopefully the landing will be a little safer, but we don't know yet, and we're going to test it out.
And while she's working on that, I'm working on untangling our parachutes. Just hazards of the job.
And to attach my egg to my parachute, I'm just going to use a lot of tape. If you want at home, you can just tie it together. Again, you can use a paper clip, any sort of method you want to try.
There we go.
Okay. Is this one good to go?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sneezing.
Almost, just about.
Will you help me? Will you hold it so I can
Yeah,
tape
where do you want me to hold it?
Just right here. Just hold it like just hold them like together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're just trying to get our basket attached to our parachute. And normally bees have 6 arms. Riley is slacking a little today.
I only have 2, unfortunately.
Right. It's been a long week, right?
It sure has. Okay, do you think that'll... All right, so I think this will work out.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's go back over the edge. I'm going to fly downstairs in a safe manner.
You're Let's see if our egg didn't break.
I have to get my 10-kilometer run. All right, let's see. Will you do the honors to see if the egg is safe?
I'm actually surprised that it's not broken. But yeah, we cushioned it.
Ta-da! Nicely made. So we've done a few things here. We tested different parachutes, tested different materials, and using our information for what was the safest parachute, we tested its safety by placing an egg passenger inside there. Humpty Dumpty would certainly approve of your design. Thank you everybody so much, and we look forward to seeing you again on our Facebook Live Make at Home events.
Thank you.